Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another video, and Merry Christmas! Apparently! Okay, this is a reaction review to the 15th episode of MLP, which is the Heartwarming Club, and this is a Christmas episode. In August. Okay, now, this premiered this month. It would make kind of more comical sense if it premiered last month in July for Christmas in July, but this is a Christmas episode. Okay, so that's cool. That's cool. I'm kind of surprised though that they're doing a Christmas episode now. I'm glad because too many times I have seen shows they just do like one Christmas special and then that's it. Like they never do any more ever, and no matter what happens in the show, you always go back to that one Christmas special all the freaking time. No updates with the characters. Zip, zilch, nada. And so I'm really glad that they're continuing with that with MLP. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. Episode 15. Starting video in 3, 2, 1, click. Oh, that is beautiful. And I love those bells too.
Pony's voices fill the night, hearts warming. Eve is here once again.
Oh,
come on, everybody!
They're singing that song.
Sing.
I don't see it.
La 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 la.
He's in the heartwarming spirit.
La 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 la.
Not every creature celebrates the same way, you know. Yeah, dragons don't do pony holidays.
Sure we do. I love Heartwarming Eve. It's all about friends and presents and family and presents.
It's also about putting aside differences.
I love
to come
that tree.
Together,
That is
like
beautiful.
the Earth ponies, Pegasi, and unicorns did on the first holiday.
Oh, is that why you put their fire of friendship on top of the tree to help us remember their unity?
That is beautiful.
Because it looks cool.
This
Yeah.
is my favorite day of the year. Not that I don't like the other ones. Tuesdays are great.
What?
You ought to like any day that is start of winter break.
2 whole weeks without classes. How will Ocella survive?
I think you'll all enjoy the time off to be home with your families to celebrate your own traditions. Attention, every creature.
I
School
love the
is officially
decorations.
out. Happy holidays, and we'll see you after the break. And for those of you traveling outside Equestria,
Yeah, shouldn't you guys be getting ready to go? If you miss that train, it's a really long walk.
go pack up and we'll take you to the station.
Oh, yeah.
Spike.
It's that
Save
new
those.
bow tie I wanted, isn't it?
For
You'll
heartwarming.
have to wait and see.
I'm waiting, but in the meantime, I'm shaking.
Whoa! What the heck just happened? Okay. So, I'm curious. Already, oh my gosh, so if we think back about the timeline of the show since the very first holiday special to now, 2 years have passed. 2 years in the show's timeline has passed. That's interesting. 2 years has passed in the show's timeline. This now makes 2 years since the first Christmas special. That's cool. Okay, but there's a lot of things to talk about in that opening right there. I'm going to discuss that, but I'm wondering what the heck is... Who would destroy the tree? And cover it in... Right? Jelly?
What happened?
Everything's ruined. That's what's happened.
And I don't think it was an accident. Some pony was up here. Over there!
Who?
Outside.
Oh, I love this scenery. This makes me think about,
That's the students' quarters.
Might as well give up, whoever you are. We got
Hello?
I'll discuss that later.
Is any pony there?
I'll check the back door.
What's happening? Another decorating party? Has any creature come in here?
Well, yeah, all of us did. To pack, like you told us to.
After that, did you hear anything?
What's up?
Jonathan packing! Is something
I'm
wrong?
getting an Agatha Christie
The back
vibe
door's
from
locked.
this.
No way out!
But whoever did it had to have
I'm getting
come
an
in here.
Agatha Christie
saw
vibe
them.
from this.
Whoever did
This is
what?
kind of like Murder on the Orient Express.
Whoa, that is so not cool.
A crime was committed.
And whoever did it ran into your room.
Yeah, it's like
No one
it's like
came
this.
out,
It's like
and all of
the
you
train
are
car.
still here.
Every one of them
One of you
has
must
now
have
been
done
a
this.
suspect.
But why would any of you want to sabotage Heartwarming Eve? No, me.
None of them.
Yeah, not do this. Yona offended by accusation.
We don't know what happened. Maybe this wasn't even on purpose. But I want to give whoever caused this mess a chance to tell the truth and explain themselves. I'll make it easy for you. Close your eyes.
Okay.
Now, if you did this, raise your hoof, or claw, or whatever.
Okay.
Come on, Spike. Looks like we have to... Spike, you can open your eyes.
What?
Oh, what about me?
You all can. But since no creature took responsibility for this mess, you're all gonna have to help clean it up before you can go home.
Oh, no! Why do I have to stay?
Oh, but the holidays!
While you're cleaning, we'll bring you into my office one at a time. Since honesty is one of the elements of harmony, we
She's
wanna
right
give you
beside
each
it.
a chance
Okay,
to
I
tell
think
us
that's
the truth.
I think that's
And
interesting.
once we find out who did it, just you wait. We'll...
Couple of things
What are we gonna do
going
exactly?
going on here. This is like
The guilty
good
party
cop, bad
won't
cop.
be going home over Heartwarming break. She or he will stay here for some one-on-one friendship lessons.
But what if none of us confesses?
Then,
Oh boy.
I guess there's no holidays for any creature. You'll all stay.
Okay, there's two different things. First off, this is like good cop, bad cop. Rainbow's the bad cop, Twilight's good cop. Second, I'm getting again some good some good
All
Agatha
right,
Christie vibes
Let's
from
get to
this.
the bottom of this.
Crime was
Who
committed.
wants to be interviewed first?
Everybody that's present is a suspect until
I'll
they
go.
find out who.
Beats mop duty.
Hey, I know.
And I'm also wondering
We can make a game out of this. See who finishes cleaning up
if
first.
they're going to sort of.
Yeah, win. Yeah, best at cleaning. Let's save time and cut to the chase.
I'm wondering if they're
Which
going
one
to
of you
turn on each other.
I would never do something
And accuse
this
each other.
horrible. I love Heartwarming Eve, and I do not want to miss going home for it.
Huh. I didn't even know changelings celebrated Heartwarming.
Oh yes, it's our favorite holiday. Well,
Okay.
since Headmare Twilight shared it with us last year, she gave our hive very clear instructions.
Okay.
Welcome to the traditions and fun of Heartwarming. Here's a guide to help
Huh.
you enjoy the celebration of pony history. Families start the holidays by putting the tree up. Thirsty? Dive into some holiday punch.
Oh,
Just before
they took it
bed,
literally.
every pony exchanges gifts. It doesn't say how long we keep doing this. And to finish celebrating, you can build a fire, light it up, and sing carols. Carols, 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 carols.
well,
You might have misunderstood things just a little.
We may not have done everything exactly the way you do, but we made our own traditions. And I can't wait to do it all again this year.
no, that's what's
If
important.
we ever get out of here.
Ocellus, your turn.
Also, this is supposed to be the element of honesty.
What
And
What do you think happened? I told her I didn't do it.
Ah! Yona tired of waiting! Yak's always home for holidays!
How do you celebrate Heartwarming in Yak-Yakistan, Yona?
Yaks do not! Our holiday, much better, is called Snildart Fest. Night before, Yaks gather things to smash and put them in big pile. Then, in morning, we smash them. In afternoon,
You play Monster
we
Truck.
smash them again. In evening,
So it's just about smashing stuff, like all your other holidays.
Yeah.
No! How Griffin get that idea? This holiday about so much more. Last year, for example,
Really?
most perfect Snildart ever. Whole family, Grandpa, Grandma Yak, Yona's brother, sister, mother, father Yak, all go to woods singing Yak song. Yak song, Yak song, not very long, sing again. Yak song, Yak song, not very long.
I love this scenery.
Yak song, Yak song, not very long, sing again. Tabs and family pick out perfect smashing log. Then Yak smash it.
Okay then. Well, at least Prince Rutherford wasn't involved with this. Oh, he's probably dead.
And smash it. Then we hang perfect things on perfect moss pile and
Smash it.
smash it. What do you think yaks are? Barbarians? Moss pile is for special family rituals.
Oh, okay.
Last year, ritual for Yona. All yak family gather around Yona and braid Yona hair for first time.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So, to recap, your holiday is about smashing things and family.
Two most perfect things ever put together. Happy
It kind of sounds normal. Actually, it kind of does.
Happy Snildart to you too, Yona. It's so cool to learn new traditions from new friends.
Now I see why they call it the Heartwarming Club, because every one of these, are telling their story.
Well, one of these new friends has gotten us all in trouble, and they better confess soon. Sambar? Sorry, but they said they want you to go in next.
Okay.
Why the rush to get home, Smolder? Like you said, dragons don't really have
Because I can
holidays.
relate, because
Do they?
on holidays like this, especially Thanksgiving and
That's so
Christmas
sad.
and
Must
New
do
Year's, it's like,
something in the winter
okay,
for fun.
I'm going home, okay?
Well, we do have the Feast of Fire. Every dragon gets together and tells stories. The best one wins a pile of gemstones.
Ooh,
Okay.
what story won last
In
year?
front of me.
It was called A Dream Come True.
Come on, now you gotta tell it.
Fine. Once upon a time, there was this sad little dragon.
Her name was Skip.
Oh, she's cute.
She lived alone in the wilderness with nothing to eat. But one night, as she sat alone in the storm, she heard something. It was the Dragon Lord! Scales was scared, but the Dragon Lord told her not to be afraid, that he was taking her to the Dragonlands for a great feast.
Okay, cute.
Scales sat with the Dragon Lord's family and friends and had the biggest, best dinner of gemstones
So,
ever.
like, she had no
Then, while the
family,
dragons were telling stories, Scales thought
and
it was so easy to seize power from this feeble and sensitive Dragon Lord. She saw her chance and took it.
and here I'll never mind.
The Bloodstone Scepter and took over the Dragonlands. And forced the Dragon Lord to live out in the cold, just as she used to. That's a
But
horrible story.
they gave you
You,
shelter.
the
They
dragons
gave
like
you a
hearing about
home.
weak kind creatures getting defeated. Silver Street, you're up.
Well, that wasn't.
Let's go.
That did not have a happy ending. I sad.
So,
I bet he
did you tell
said.
him you did it?
What? No way! Why would I say that?
You already live in Ponyville. Staying here over break is no big deal. School of Friendship, good place for Pony to have pony holiday.
I'd still rather spend it with my family at home. Oh, that reminds me. I have the best holiday story ever. It's called The Day My Heartwarming Doll Almost Fell into the Fire.
Okay.
Just before we went to bed, my mom, my dad, and my sister all put our heartwarming dolls up on the mantle, just like we do every year. But this year, I put my doll too close to the edge, and it fell!
We have to do the slow-mo.
And?
My doll hit the floor, but it could have gone in the fire.
That's a great story. And you
Maybe
told
a
it
little
really well.
anticlimactic, but
Yeah, it was a heartwarming miracle.
Next! Smolder, come with me. Yona, Twilight's waiting for you.
The last two. So if neither one of them confesses, that means we're never going home.
That's how I feel at work.
We'll be here forever.
Beyond forever.
But I can't miss the 3 days of freedom celebration!
How long does that last?
It used to be only 1 day, but now to commemorate our escape from the Storm King, we're adding 2 more days.
Continuity callbacks.
See?
There's a book?
That's what I was thinking. They already made a book.
These made for the Mount Aerith
That was
Board of
adorable.
Tourism to explain it all to guests.
No. Okay. Makes sense.
We'll spend the first night in Sequestria, thanking the ocean for protecting
Sequestria.
us from the Storm King.
Ah! Oh my gosh, we actually see the Storm King in this in the show. Okay, that's cool.
Shell stringing? Lots of things. The second day will be on Mount Aerith. With sky dancing and a wind song in the Harmonizing Heights to celebrate the Storm King's defeat. Then the third day, every creature will party together on land and sea.
Sweet.
Grandparents and parents
Okay.
and sisters, uncles, brothers, acquaintances, neighbors, and cousins. And at the end of the night, Queen Novo is gonna give out presents.
Wait, hold on. Cousins? What are those?
Your aunts and uncles' children? You know, part of your family. Oh, you're teasing us again, right?
Nope.
I'm guessing neither one of you confessed.
Because they didn't do it.
Wait here. Maybe they're changing their minds about sending us home.
Why would they? Face it, we're stuck here.
I'm wondering who it was.
But I have to go home.
I got some
My mom makes
theories.
the best kelp fritters.
How can you be so cool about this?
We're mad. We just show it differently.
More of you don't show it at all.
What Pony getting at?
I know that.
Maybe it wasn't just one prankster. Maybe there were 3 of you. And you're trying to hide your guilt by not being upset.
It does make sense.
Guys, stop it.
Or maybe whoever did
I like
was only
him.
pretending to be upset to throw us off.
Me? But I didn't!
Come on, let it go.
Come on! Ocellus, you know you did it. Just fess up.
I said stop fighting! That's not what the holidays are about. No matter what you call them, or how you celebrate. Do you know
I
how
love this
lucky
guy's
you all
rationality.
are? With your stories about sharing and kindness and getting
You
together with
don't
every
have
creature
any.
that you care about?
But griffins do that too, don't they?
Some holiday about a moon?
Blue Moon Festival. The one time of year when griffins are nice to each other. Well, as nice as we can be. Families get together to eat and then complain
Gilda!
about the food and give each
Hey!
other presents they don't like. And
Forgot her
mostly
name.
just try not to
Feedback.
yell at each other.
Well, at least you get to be with your family.
No, because I don't have a family.
What about Grandpa Gruff?
That's just his name. He's not any Griff's actual grandpa.
Wait a minute, you mean...
I felt like I never had a place in Griffinstone. And I came here and, well, met all of you. So I don't want to go home for the break. And that's why I did it.
Griffin messed up decorations?
Yeah, it was me. I put goo powder in the fire of friendship.
So it wasn't a Celis?
Why would you ruin things for us?
I didn't plan to. I just figured if I made a mess, our teachers would make us stay to clean up. We'd be together a little longer.
Well, it worked, didn't it?
Better than I thought. And when Head Mayor Twilight threatened to cancel winter break, that meant I would get to be with all of you through the entire holiday. That's why I didn't confess.
You
So
don't wanna be
why are
alone.
you admitting this now?
I hated seeing all you fighting and blaming each other. That's the opposite of what all your holidays mean. Except maybe yours, Smolder. I can't keep all of you from the happiness of your homes and families just because I feel bad. I'm sorry. Don't worry. You won't have to tell our teachers. I will.
You don't have to. We already know.
We kinda guessed it was you. But we wanted to
Huh?
give you the chance to tell the truth.
I'm proud
How'd
that
you figure
did.
it out?
And I'm glad to see you've been paying attention in Professor Applejack's honesty classes.
How'd
But
you
you're
figure
still
it out?
gonna have to make amends and stay over break for extra friendship lessons. By yourself.
I'll stay with him.
Me too.
But wait,
Jonah,
what?
stay also.
I'm staying.
What? All right. I guess pony holidays can't be that bad.
Now you can finally know what it's like to spend Heartwarming with friends who care about you.
Looks like they don't really need any extra lessons.
Since you obviously know that Heartwarming is about coming together, I'd be honored if all of you would join my friends as guests at our holiday table.
Oh, sweet! Awesome!
After we finish cleaning up.
Hey, this reminds me of another story. The time I almost spilled grape juice on the white couch.
Does it have a depressing ending? I'm not sure pony stories work that way. Gallus want Yona braid feathers?
Pass.
This year once again!
Oh man. All right, this was a pretty good episode. This was actually it was a really good episode. Very very unique. This was a very unique episode. And there was a lot of things kind of going on here. Okay, Gallus, this is a very unique episode. Certainly, I've never seen an episode like this before. This is another one of those really deep episodes, and that just kind of really hits you. It really touches you, and you can kind of relate to it. I mean, you can really relate to it. I mean, Gallus had no family. He had nobody to get to go home to celebrate the holidays with, and it's kind of like one way to look at it that the Griffins, the way that they act there, I mean, they're always usually bitter with each other, and Gallus is different. He's not part of that. He's not angry and bitter all the time. He has found friendship, and he loves that new feeling. He loves being able to be happy and laugh, and being around other Griffins there, he feels out of place. Like it, and it's understandable. I mean, imagine being in a family that oftentimes argue and bicker. And imagine being invited to a Christmas party by them, and you attend, and just one person just says one thing, and suddenly they begin arguing and bickering, and Gallus, he didn't want to be a part of that. He wanted friendship, and so he often felt, I mean, he was alone. He had nobody. And he couldn't stand spending another Heartwarming alone in the same way. It's wore him down mentally and emotionally. And so now he had the chance, he had an opportunity. If he could sabotage the Christmas decorations or the Heartwarming decorations there, then nobody would be able to go home, and they would all be able to spend Heartwarming together, and he would be able to spend Heartwarming with others that he cared about. And you can fault Gallus for what he tried to do. You can say that it was underhanded, that it was mean, that it was mean-spirited, but at the same time, I can't fault him really for it. I can't really say that, I mean, he made a mistake. That's all I can say. He made a mistake. I'm not going to look at him and say, he really screwed up. He royally effed up. No. Because imagine putting yourself in that isolation, that feeling of loneliness. After a certain point, you'd get desperate to do whatever you could just so you wouldn't be alone. And so he's reached his breaking point. He's old enough and mature enough to be able to kind of make that decision. But, I mean, there's still things he has to learn. There's still things, I mean, even the older ponies have to learn. There's still things we have to learn. No matter how that we get, we still make mistakes. And he didn't want to be alone on Heartwarming, and who can blame him? I mean, think about, and it's realistic, and I'm thinking about it now, I'm beginning to tear up. Because there are people out there in real life, they don't have that chance. They don't have that opportunity. They don't have anybody. Now, some people choose to be Scrooges and spend Christmas alone, but there's some that they don't have that choice. And whenever you get to, I mean, whenever Thanksgiving and Christmas rolls around, my mentality is always, I'm not working. I'm not working on the holidays. The holidays, it only comes around one time a year. I'm spending it with family. That's what I always want to do. And I'm blessed to be able to put up a tree with my parents and to be able to sit with them on Christmas morning, to be able to eat Christmas dinner, Christmas evening. I'm blessed. And many of us, we're blessed. But there are some people who they just don't have that opportunity. And Gallus is one of those that he has. And this is, honestly, I love what they did here. I really love what they did here because it showed different characters from different walks of life. And it gave a glimpse into their relationship with their family, their traditions, and how that works. And just like real life, it shows that there's someone who does not have what you have. And it's heartbreaking to think about it. And as much as it hurts to see this, I love that they did it. I'm very happy that the writers went this direction with this episode and didn't portray every single one of them to just have like the perfect life. And And even though it's heartbreaking to see that, it's realistic. And I love this episode because of the realistic nature that is portrayed here, and it still manages to have a happy ending. And Gallus, he was lonely, and he wanted to spend Heartwarming. He didn't want to spend it alone. Who can blame him? Who can blame him? And again, I know he made a mistake. It wasn't thoroughly planned out, and it backfired, or rather worked way too well, and he had everybody kind of angry with him. But he was being selfish, thinking about having everybody there with him. But he was selfish at first. He was selfish at first. But again, who can blame him? Whenever you're isolated, whenever you're alone, and you have nobody, the things you will do, it tears you up. And I can't fault him. I can't look at Gallus and say, yeah, he made a mistake. He was selfish at first, yes. But I can't look at him and say, that was completely wrong. Because it's understandable. It's relatable. Put yourself in Gallus's shoes. What would you do? Just so you wouldn't have to spend another holiday alone, what would you do? If you'd always been bickering and arguing with friends or with family or with other friends, and then you finally found a group of people who you got along with well, who you loved being around, who can blame you for being selfish, for wanting to have them by your side through that holiday? I can't blame him for that. Gallus had found friendship. He had found something that had opened his eyes and opened his heart to something that he had never had before. And yeah, he was selfish at first, but whenever he saw his friends start bickering and arguing, whenever they started telling about their cherished traditions and how much they love being around their family, and it began to tear him apart, and he did the right thing. He confessed about what he'd done, and he was willing to let them go home and spend time with their family and suffer another holiday alone, just because he didn't want to lose them as friends, and he didn't want them to have to miss out. He was willing to make himself suffer again. And I gotta say, that's friendship. That is friendship. Again, who can fault him for that? How many times have we been in a situation where a decision that we made, it would make someone else happy? Like, maybe you've been in a situation, how many of us have been in a situation that a decision that you made, it was going to leave you feeling out, but you let them do it because you knew it would make them happy, and you wanted them to be happy. Gallus did the right thing in the end. He might have been selfish in the beginning, but he learned a lot. And he fessed up to what he'd done, and he was willing to suffer another holiday alone again in isolation, just to make his other friends happy so they could go home. And like I said, I can't fault him for that. I fully understand where he's coming from. And it's understandable, and it's relatable. And I really love how this episode did that. It was a very bold move on the writer's part to have a character that was alone, that had no one. It was a very bold move. It's not something you often see in animation. It's more common, I think, in live action. But in animation, it's not it's not something that you see a lot of. And so I'm really glad that they were able to portray that. It really does. It hits home. It's realistic, and I'm really happy that they did it. It really does work. And Gallus got to, and in the end, his friends didn't abandon him. They wanted originally to spend time with their family, yes, but they made the choice. They made the choice, like, he's alone. He has no one. He did this so that he wouldn't have to be alone. Ultimately, I would be a complete jerk to leave him alone. They were true friends as well. Everybody there were true friends because they stuck by his side and spent the holiday with him so he wouldn't be alone. And they were still together. Spending the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, any other holiday, it's not just about spending it with your family, your parents, your grandparents. It's also about your closest friends too, because they matter as well. And this episode is another that shows that it's not just about family, it's about your friends too. It's about your dearest and closest friends. They matter too. They're important as well. And I love this episode because of that. This is a very beautiful, very sweet, very warm-hearted episode. And it's heartbreaking to see Gallus in that situation and to see him have to go through that, to experience that isolation, but to see what the lengths that he went to try to not be alone. I mean, you can't fault him for that. He made a mistake, yeah, but then look how long he's been alone for, how many holidays he's had to suffer that. It wears on you. And who can blame him? And now he's finally got friendship. He's finally got some people who care about him, that he cares about. You can't blame him for wanting to hang on to that with every fiber of his being. You can't blame him for that. And so this was a very warm, very sweet episode, and I absolutely love it because of that. It's just such a beautiful and realistic episode, and again, I absolutely love it. It's just a wonderful episode, and it's a very deep, very realistic take, because oftentimes whenever Christmas rolls around, I can't believe I'm talking about Christmas in August, but whenever the holidays rolls around, it's easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle. Christmas decorations are coming out earlier and earlier every year, and it's easy to get lost in it. People are going out buying gifts for others. You're trying to get the Christmas decorations up. You're concerned about snow, well, in the regions that get it. And there's so much hustle and bustle, and everything's just flying by. And it's easy to get lost in it. And I love Christmas. It's one of my favorite holidays. Actually, it is my favorite holiday. Right behind it is Halloween. But I love Christmas, and I try to never get lost in the hustle and bustle because there's so much beauty to behold. The beautiful decorations, the scenery around, and just the warm-heartedness that the season brings. I try to admire and hang on to that for everything that it's worth, because you don't know whenever you're going to get another chance. And yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle, but I mean, people are out trying to buy and shop and just trying to get that last minute gift for someone, and it's so easy to get caught up in it. But beyond it, underneath, there's a lot of beauty. There's a lot of warm-heartedness, very tender moments with the season, and it's easy to forget that there are those who don't have a family, who don't have a home. It's easy to forget about that. And I'm starting to tear up. It's easy to forget about the people that they're out in the cold. And they don't have a Christmas tree. They don't have a home. It's easy to forget about that. And then some of us, we get to lie in our nice warm beds, and others, they don't have that. And it's easy to forget about this episode here, it really does take that into consideration. I mean, he wasn't really out in the cold, but it kind of showed it. Who can blame him for wanting to hang on to the only people that cares about him? It's just one person. If there's just one person that cares about you, that you care about them, you'll do whatever you can to hang on to them. And I know that feeling. And this here, it really does. I can't believe I'm saying this in August, but like, whenever December rolls around, whenever Thanksgiving rolls around, we need to try to remember those who aren't as fortunate as us. We need to try to keep them in mind. Donate, do what you can for them. We all need to. But anyway, I love this episode because of the story. I mean, it's such a beautiful story. It really is. It's emotional and it's heartbreaking, but it does have a happy ending, and I'm very glad for it. You know, I mean, because every other character, they had their own traditions that they had with their family, but Gallus, he didn't have any traditions, and he was able to start one with his friends, the people who really cared about him. And I think he'll always remember this. He'll always remember this moment. And I'm very happy that this episode had a happy ending. And it was very sweet. It was very heartwarming. And this was a really good episode about real friendship. The lengths that you'll go to try to keep the friends you've got, to try to hang on to them and not be alone. The lengths, I mean, what you'll sacrifice to be there for the friends that you care about, to let them know that you're there for them, that you've got their back. This was a really good episode. Both sides, both Gallus and the rest of the characters here, both, it's give and take, and this is a beautiful image of that. And I love it. This is a really good episode, and it shows how tight that they are as a group, how strong that friendship is between them, and I freaking love it, man. I do. I freaking love it. And so, again, to the writers, I thank you so much for going in the direction they did with this episode, for being as bold as you were with the story, for doing the story the way you did. I can only imagine that it was not an easy decision to say, hey, let's have a character who doesn't have anyone. I can't, in My Little Pony, of all things, I know that can't been easy. I know that probably wasn't easy to say, let's do this way. But it worked. And this is definitely another really heartfelt episode. And this is a great episode because of that. So, and this shows that, you know, this can happen in all walks of life, different people, different cultures. It's out there with everybody. It doesn't matter the color. It doesn't matter where you come from. It's possible with anybody. It's there. It's all around. Not everybody are as fortunate as the rest of the characters. Some people are like Gallus. Some people, they just need someone, a friend, just someone to say, hey, I'm there for you. You're not going to be alone. You're not going to spend another holiday alone. And this is a very beautiful episode for that. This shows what real friendship is. And I love it. This is a very beautiful episode. So again, to the writers, thank you so much. To the writers, the animators, the voice actors, thank you so much for this episode. Thank you so much for all you've done with this episode, and for doing it the way that you did, and for delivering the performance that you did. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Now, going over a few different aspects about the episode itself, there are a few different things that I wanted to cover in the episode. Initially, early on, I said that the episode did have a sort of Agatha Christie vibe to it. And I remember playing the Agatha Christie video game for the PC, or Murder on the Orient Express. It's kind of felt like that. It also kind of felt like Mystery on the Friendship Express, that episode too. where a crime happened and everybody that was present, or not present, but was nearby, was considered a culprit. And that's the initial setup that the episode seemed to be going for in the beginning, was everybody was going to be accused, and every other character thought that one of the others did it. And that's what I thought was going to happen, but as it turned out, it went in a completely different direction. It went in a completely different direction than that, but it did it really did have a really good Agatha Christie vibe starting out. It really did, and I really loved it for that. But I also loved how that it transitioned from that later on to give a really deep emotional performance, and it really transitioned really well. But another thing this episode showed was that not everybody celebrates the same holiday the same way. I mean, every single character here, they had their own traditions that they do. They each had their own tradition that they do, and it's fun to talk about the different traditions that you have with others, because it's an interesting thing. I mean, and it's easy to think everybody celebrates in the same way, but no, not everybody does. And I think it's fun to be able to talk about different traditions with others, what they do, how they celebrate, the things that they do with their friends and family, because it's fun. It's an enlightening experience, and it's just fun to be able to share, share those memories. And every single year, even with the old traditions that you have, it's always fun to work in a brand new tradition. And like for me and my parents, I mean, like putting up the Christmas tree together, a couple of different years we went on Christmas Eve, we went out for a drive looking at all the Christmas decorations on the houses, and sometimes sitting around for a couple different years, we sat around watching a Christmas movie on the Hallmark Channel, then, oh gosh, the times we've watched How the Grinch Stole Christmas, A Christmas Story, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, among others. Charlie Brown Christmas, just so many Christmas movies. And so now, I mean, and it's always fun to work in new traditions, and it's really awesome to be able to experience that, to be able to hear what other people do, how they celebrate. And the important thing is that you're together, you're having fun, and you're able to make some joyous, fun memories with your friends and family. And that's your tradition, and I mean, it's fun to have that tradition. And while, I mean, it's interesting, because here the characters are questioning the others' traditions, like, is that all there is to it? And from your perspective, it's easy to see that and question that, but from their perspective, that's what they do. And, that's what they're used to. And yeah, so it's understandable. And this is a really good episode that blends that culture, that different combination of how different people celebrate the different holidays. That's just like me, I celebrate Christmas, but others celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Some don't even celebrate. And so, yeah, I completely understand that. And it's really cool to be able to hear about different people's traditions, about what they do, how they celebrate, what they do. And it's very, very cool. And I love that they blended that culture with this episode. And it wasn't just everybody doing it the same way. They all had each character had their own unique way of doing things, their own unique way of celebrating. And I loved how that they portrayed that. It was really cool. But yeah, it was interesting that those two characters, and it was kind of a good cop, bad cop thing. That was another thing, because here Twilight's kind of the good cop, Rainbow Dash is kind of the bad cop. I can kind of imagine a buddy cop thing, but with Twilight and Rainbow, that would actually be comical. And another thing that I made mention about was that it's very cool because this makes the third Christmas special of this show. And I love that because, as I said prior, too many times a show will make, they'll make one Christmas special for the whole series and never another. They'll make one holiday special and then they'll never make another. And oftentimes it happens early on in the first season of a show. It happens early on in the first or second season maybe of a show. They'll do a holiday episode, and then no matter what happens throughout the rest of the seasons, they'll never make another. And it's kind of awkward whenever you see those transitions, whenever you see those changes happen in the show, and then the holiday comes around, they air that holiday special, and then here's all these old changes. I mean, here's everything that was older in it that happened before, and you're like, whoa, I mean, this changed after that. It's weird whenever that happens. And so I'm someone that I mean, I've seen other Christmas specials do that before. One, for example, I remember was Supernatural. Now, some can kind of work in a way that they can work just about any time, but I have seen Christmas specials of other shows, and they just kind of, it's a bit awkward to see the characters at that point, and then know maybe what happened later on in other seasons, to see what developed. And so I'm very happy that the writers are continuing with Christmas specials in this show, as it keeps things updated. It keeps things up to date, and we get to see how things are evolving. The first episode showed just the main six. Twilight didn't have her wings then. We got to see that. The second Christmas special, which was A Heartwarming Tale, we got to see Twilight now celebrating the holiday. She had wings. She got to celebrate it at her new home in her castle. And and Starlight was there. She got to celebrate it with Starlight as well. And so we got to see that, and we got to see that evolvement. Now there's the school. This is the third Christmas special. Now we have the school, and Twilight is there. She's also a teacher there. So yeah, it's progressing. It's showing that progression, and I love that they're constantly doing that, and it's evolving with every single holiday episode, because it's realistic. Because with real life, not every single, you're not going to go back in time to one specific Christmas. Every single Christmas, there's a new development, a new thing that has transpired over the past year since the past holiday. And so it's great that they're keeping up. It's wonderful that they're keeping it up to date, and I love that they're doing that. Now, going over a few of the different aspects about this episode, there are some things that I want to talk about. There are some things that I wanted to talk about. Scenery. Oh my gosh, it's Christmas. Oh, also, that's another thing that I wanted to say. 2 years. 2 years now have passed, because remember the first Christmas special, and then the second, 2 years. 2 years have now passed since, I think 2 years have now passed since the first Christmas special. In the show's timeline, for us it's been 8 freaking years. But in the show's timeline, 2 years have passed. So we've seen 2 years transition in the show's timeline now. So everything that has happened within 2 years. So that's interesting. But again, look at the scenery for this. I love this setting, and I love how with this opening, I love this beautiful scene here, how it opens up with the beautiful decorations around the school, the snow, the waterfall behind it, the beautiful snowflakes that are falling from the sky right here, just beautiful. And then the bells ringing. Oh man, it's just so magical. This is such a magical opening. I love it. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love this scenery. It's so beautiful and majestic and magical. And again, the decorations are just so lovely. I mean, look at this. It's just so warm and inviting. The lights hanging from the rafters, the holly hanging from the rafters, and the chandeliers, the beautiful tree over in the corner with the pink glowing heart. Everyone just sitting around together, enjoying the holiday, enjoying the warmth of the fire and each other's comfort. It's just so beautiful. It's definitely that warm, Christmassy feeling. It's definitely that warm feeling. And of course you have the other characters here just kind of, talking amongst themselves, just talking amongst themselves. And of course you have, and just like real life, you have the character, you have the individual here that is just in the Christmas mood, in the holiday mood, is just ready to sing the holiday carols, sing the tunes for that holiday, sing the Christmas songs. That's kind of me. That's kind of me in a way. And then you have the others, of course, who are like, I'm not brave enough to sing in front of others, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, okay? Again, this is realistic. It's really, really realistic. It's cute. And again, look at the beautiful beautiful tree in the background. Look at the beautiful, like the green, the gold, like the gold wrapped around the tree, the golden beads, all of the porcelain bulbs, or like the ornaments, and it's realistic because look at the tiny detail. It's not just a little silver rectangle. No, they actually went as far as to put the little tiny triangles, little sharp points, because that's how those are actually designed. This is beautiful. And then the tinsel or garland, however you say it. I've said it both ways. Just wrapped around the tree beautifully, just draped across it. So beautiful, so realistic to the beautiful holiday. It's just so magical. And that's why I love Christmas episodes, is because it's just so magical and warm. And of course we have the pink heart hang above the tree, which we saw in the first episode. At the end of the episode, after we heard the Wendigo roar, the pink heart hanging, just floating above. Beautiful, beautiful, beautifully done. And another really awesome thing that they did with this particular scene here, whenever they look out the window, as soon as I can get back to that particular point, I apologize, is they didn't just go with a still shot of the characters looking out the window. There's a couple things to point out. First off, the angle. It's not just a straight, flat image. They actually put an angle to really give the impression that the camera is positioned lower on like the ground, on like a stand or something. It gives a really good atmospheric look to it. It really does look good, and I like how that they did that. Additionally, the snow continues to fall as the scene transitions here as they look out the window. It's not just a still shot. You know, it would have been easier to not have the snow in the shot to animate, but they went the extra length, put the snowflakes in there, put the snow dabs in there to make it look realistic, to make it look like it was freaking snowing outside. And I love it. So thank you, animators, for adding the extra detail, because I'm a detail nut, and I love the fact that that's put there. Very, very beautiful. And what I was going to say earlier was this particular scene, whenever they go into the courtyards, this makes me think about the College of Winterhold in Skyrim. It does. It makes me think about the College of Winterhold. Just how every time you go to Winterhold, how the sun is never shining, how it's always like a freaking blizzard around. It's just snowing. It's like the dark winter area. And I love the fact that here it looks like that. Like this, for me, I look at this, I think, here's the center fountain. This is the College of Winterhold around them. This is the center fountain right here. And the rest of these buildings are the College of Winterhold. That's what I think of right here. Now, one could also say that Twilight might have been in the wrong here because she was keeping every single one of these characters away from their families through the holiday because she didn't know who did it. One could probably say, well, she could have just went ahead and let them go home to their family and said, after the holiday, you know, we're going to talk about this. After the break, we're going to talk about this and find out who did it. Then you'll be in trouble. But it kind of would have been too easy. The episode would have ended pretty much right there. But at the same time, me, myself, personally, I can look at the situation and say, yeah, Twilight might have been pretty harsh on that. But at the same time, I can also understand it because here they put so much work and effort into these beautiful decorations only to have it seemingly ruined. All this stuff covered in this goop, this like grape jelly-like stuff. And here, there was a potential possibility that somebody here had done it just because they didn't like the holiday and wanted to sabotage it and maybe keep the others from being able to go home. And Twilight didn't know who it was, and she figured that the rest were too ashamed or too embarrassed or too afraid to admit it because they didn't want to risk it, and they're just doing it to be mean. And, you know, they just wanted to do it. And so I think in a way also Twilight was just in what she said, because if nobody, like, it was a really good provocation. It's kind of like no, I know that sometimes a parent will kind of do that. If you don't fess up to doing something like this, you're not going to get it, or you're going to miss out. So fess up. I've kind of seen that ploy play out in a couple of things before, so it really worked here. And but it did work out for the best because they all still got to spend the holiday together. But yeah, it's understandable, and I can actually understand Twilight's perspective here, because these students have been trying to take friendship lessons, and they've been a part of the school, and here one of them, she thought, had done something bad, and it was just because they wanted to be a meanie pants. They wanted to graffiti the whole thing, and they wanted to cause trouble, and so Twilight was doing what she thought, like, hey, if this is not working, if you're not learning friendship, then you need to stay extra. So yeah, it's kind of understandable, and I do think that in this regard, Twilight was being a teacher here. I do think she was being a teacher here. So, or a head mayor here. So yeah, I can understand that. And this part with Yona and the yaks, I love this winter scenery here around this. This really looks beautiful. I love this nice winter scenery in like the woods here. Really does look beautiful. I love that. This kind of also made me think about Skyrim, like some of the winter scenes, like the winter areas where you can walk through. It's also kind of made me think about that as well. Now this particular story with this dragon was not how I imagined. This dragon at first was alone, cold, in the rain. She was offered friendship. She was offered a chance to partake in a family dinner with these other dragons, and not be alone. Have something to eat, have warmth, and have some food. But she got greedy, wanted to take control, so she did. She swiped the scepter and took over and caused the other dragons to have to stay in the rain like she had to. This was not a good story. This was not a good story, because there's a couple different things to analyze with it here that I don't. There's a couple different things here, and then the dragon cries, and this is emotional here, because first off, this other character was just a complete. She was offered friendship. She was offered pretty much a home. She was offered the chance to spend some time with the others and have something to eat. And instead, she got greedy. She wanted to take it all. She wanted to take over, and she wanted to make them be out in the rain like she was. However, they didn't banish her. They didn't banish her and make her have to stay there. She just wanted to be an a-hole. So yeah, she's a bad guy. That's very underhanded, and yeah, that's very evil. It's interesting to see the mom and the dad, and you can tell that they're a little older because they got the bags under their eyes here. So they're a little older, and the little bitty sister over here. So a very interesting design. And of course, we had to go with the slow-mo thing. Like, no, we had to go with that, which was comical, and it just worked. It just did. The first visual sign, the Storm King, animated in a different way, but still animated in MLP in the traditional FiM series. That's interesting. We first get our first glimpse of the Storm King in that. Now I'm really hoping that come on. I want to see Tempest return. I do. I want to see her in the show, man. I want to see her. Come on. And again, look at this beautiful, warm scene of the school at night. All the lights that glow outside of the building. Just the warm, soft glow of the lights inside, and the laughter of friends inside, just making merriment together. It's such a warm feeling. It's just such a warm sight. It's beautiful. So yeah, I did enjoy the episode. It was a fun episode. It was a sweet episode. It really was a really great episode. And honestly, even though it's still early for Christmas, this is a really great episode for Christmas. It truly is. It really is a wonderful episode for Christmas. So again, to everybody that worked on this episode, thank you all so much. Thank you so much for this episode, for doing it the way that, for doing it the way that you did it. Thank you. Thank you. And everybody else, again, hope you guys enjoyed. Again, curious about your thoughts. Anything you want to say in the comments below, feel free to do so. But again, thank you guys again for joining me. Hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video that I do. Take care.